Hey everyone, welcome back to Loud Mom's Lair. I'm Tara.
And I'm Kristen. Good to be back. We kind of lost
took
a
hiatus.
Momentum.
Yeah, took a little hiatus. I will take full blame for that. So everyone listening, I'm sorry. I needed a mental health break. So
there you go. We all need that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Today is going to be a little bit different of an episode. In our first episode, I mentioned how I love all true crime, even though it's ridiculously scary sometimes. So Tara and I both watched a documentary, which
Chrissy forced me to watch it.
Which I was so excited that you were on board for this because this is something completely different. We've never done it. It's out of just left field. So we both watched this documentary, and it's one that I have never even heard of. So I was really interested in it. And it is called The Jinx, Life and Deaths of Robert Durst. And it's on HBO Max, or what is it called now? Just Max. Or whatever. Yeah. But before we get into it, we're going to mix both of our catch-ups and if we had any tantrum, cute moments, etc. So we can get that all out in the open because we might go off on whatever.
Weird tangents. Talking murder.
Exactly.
And we don't want to leave you high and dry, especially for everyone who comes for the parent fails, toddler tantrums. We got you.
Exactly. So before we get all that started, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Tara, what have you been up to? How you been?
Yep. So like I just said, I had to take kind of like a mental health break. It's been a little overwhelming on this side of things, but we're figuring everything out. We recently had my father-in-law move in with us just for the time being. And so it's just adjusting to another person in the house, which I'm sure everyone could guess the million things that you need to adjust, especially with a toddler around the house as well. I left my job, and Chrissy did not know this.
No.
Yep. So I left my job. Technically I still work there through the 11th. But I'm on like a administrative PTO basically. And I accepted a new offer, but I can't say any details on here, yet, but yeah, so I'll be transitioning to a new position in a new company in a couple weeks here. And I'm very excited. This is the most time I've taken away from doing work because I got that 2-week period. So I picked up a craft and now I make resin things.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Tell a little bit more about that.
Well, so, I mean, I love art. I love crafts. I love just artsy things. That's just, I've always been my thing. And I'm obviously on TikTok all the time and I scroll for hours, and I kept running into these like resin artworks, and it just was they were so beautiful, and there's so many different things you could do with it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to dabble. I'm just going to like try it out. So I got a little test kit, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had no idea like the science behind the resin. So I was like doing as much research as I could, which was just hours of TikTok. I'm not proud of it, everyone, but it happened. And a lot of Googling. But yeah, so I started off with like testing out some coasters, and then I just finished, and let me actually hold this up. So the office is a mess, by the way. It's basically a workshop. Station. It is horrendous, but it's fine. We're not gonna dive into like how awful it is.
Yeah.
Minus it being. Right. So I just did this piece, and this is my biggest piece so far. You can't really, I guess you can't. So these are flowers from my dad's celebration of life, and I wanted kind of like a memento. Is that the word? So I just finished the last layer on that today, and then I'm going to sand it down. Anyway, long story short, there's so many things you can make with resin, and I just started making some custom coaster not orders, but requests. And then I'm making little kid like fridge magnets, like alphabet and number fridge magnets, but
love that.
Like custom. And Allie just requested 2 sets. So I'm going to make her some. Yeah. And
awesome.
I told her, you know, friends and family discount, aka I'm not going to charge you anything, just pay for shipping. And I was like, just tell your friends, tell your teacher friends, tell you know.
Friends.
I
was just going to say, we'll have to post your crafting and anybody, who wants something.
Let me know if you're interested. And maybe something will come of that. But I do just enjoy it. It's very peaceful, calming, and a good break from reality. So besides my new Etsy shop, which no, it's not on Etsy, everyone. Sorry, this can be a big update. It's been a couple weeks. So, Liv has transitioned into a new bedtime routine. I was kind of priming Chrissy on this, but I didn't tell her what this new routine is. As our old listeners know, we're very routine based. We are not routine based anymore, everyone.
Oh, no.
That has gone out the window. And we think it started roughly around when my father-in-law moved in. And so we don't know if it's just because someone's here. It's exciting. Yeah. It's like she's hearing different noises, seeing different people. You know, it's just a whole different thing for a 2-year-old to get used to, or almost 3-year-old. Right. And so we used to be able to just put her down or like sing her a song, read a book, put her into bed, and she would put herself down. She'd be like, okay, good night, you know, and we'd walk out. It is not that way anymore. It is like a 30-minute to 60-minute adventure now, because we have to sit by her and or hold her hand until she's asleep.
Oh.
Which, yes, it sounds adorable, and it is. And we look at her little face, and she's so content, and she feels safe, and it's so heartwarming. But at the same time, your back hurts, you're exhausted, it's been a long day. And the last thing you want to do is sit there for an hour on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that has definitely been the biggest adjustment. And like tonight, getting ready for this podcast, Matt was going to put her down tonight because we alternate. And, but she was like tree hugging me and, you know, was clawing to stay in my arms. And, so he tried putting her down, and then she kept screaming for me, and I was like, ugh. And so I had Matt text Chrissy to let her know, like, hey, we might be late to starting this podcast because I had to put her down, which I got her down in my record time, and it was like less than 20 minutes.
All right.
Mm-hmm. She heard me trying to escape once, and she jumped up and was like, Mom, no. And so I had to run back, but I got her down in less than 20, and I was very proud of that. Yeah. But
that's awesome.
Other than all that drama, life is pretty kosher here. How are you?
Well, congrats on the new job. That's exciting.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm very excited.
For you. Can't wait to hear what you're going to be doing.
No, I'm really excited.
It's been...
I'll tell you offline.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's been good. When the 29th was my birthday of July. So Austin surprised me with my 2 best friends. They came in town.
I loved seeing those pictures.
Yes. I got to spend a couple days with them, which was really nice. They got to hang with Braxton, which they loved. Braxton loved them here. He's been wild even more, and he's been so funny, the stuff that he's been saying. Kind of was telling you a little bit about it. The one day, just like out of nowhere, I'm reading a book with him, and he goes, I'm embarrassed. I was like, you're what? Like, are you embarrassed because I'm reading you a book, or like, why are you embarrassed?
Yeah.
And then I wish I remembered what we were doing, but we were doing something, and he like looks at us and goes, that's not very effective. Like, how old are you? One of the really funny, one of the really funny ones is we're doing something, and sometimes Austin will like egg him on a little bit, but then sometimes he'll get like really mad about it. So I was like, I always say, Austin, don't tick him off. Don't tick him off. So one of the days, Austin and him were doing something, and all you hear Braxton say is, Dad, don't tick me off right now. So
I love him for that. Oh my God.
He's just been a class clown lately, which has been really funny.
Which is entertaining though.
Yes.
You got to find the moments. You got to find the positives. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we've been busy, but it's been fun. And that's updates I got so far.
Yeah. Well, so your mom came into town for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then when did she leave? Like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
Because I think it was like right after our last episode or something like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. And then they're coming back down, right?
Yeah, they'll be back for Braxton's birthday. I think they leave in like 2 weeks. They're going to drive this time and be out here. So.
Oh. I'll be at your parents' on Monday.
Perfect.
I know.
And he'll actually be off of daycare / school, whatever, for the 21st into like the beginning of September. They're going on like a big road trip. So my parents will be able to watch him and hang out with him. So that'll be nice for them.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, other drama happening. So, I'm dealing with my dad's estate stuff and working with an attorney and all that good stuff that comes along with that. So I'm flying back home on Monday. I'll be there until Wednesday to hopefully like open his estate account, get funds transferred and close out his apartment and hopefully do something with the storage unit.
Right.
Just got a word back from the attorney today so all the paperwork is ready to go, but there was a hold on all of his accounts for a Medicaid claim. Mm-hmm. And I knew he had Medicaid insurance, and I was always under the understanding that was just like state funds provided, never knew there were like claims or like payback requirements. I just because I'm uneducated on that. And basically his account is responsible for over $50,000 of required paybacks. And so the funds, that estate that we were thinking that was going to be like divvied up after, certain debts were paid is like basically just diminished. So now I feel like all of these efforts of flying back and doing all these things is just like pointless, even though it's not. Like these things have to still be done, but it's just like, are you kidding me? And now there's a chance that like we're not going to be reimbursed for our travel expenses and it's just like just add it to the pile of shit. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Here comes for another personal day you need.
Yeah, I got another week and a half, so minus the 3 days being at home.
Yeah. Continue with your crafts. It'll make you feel better.
It does. I do love it. I really do. I don't know why I enjoy it so much.
It's fun. That's like me with puzzles. I love doing puzzles. I love coloring. Mm-hmm. I love, it's just so relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been, a little while. So we've had a couple tantrums. We haven't really had too many, but there is one that, so he... the other day, not the other day, like 2 weeks ago, I told him
the other day.
I told him, okay, let's get on Amazon and you can pick a couple stuff out and we'll put in our list, maybe stuff that you want for your birthday.
Because can you share the list with me?
Yes. Because people ask, so I'm like, here, Braxton, he picked it out himself. Yeah. So we're sitting in his room the other day and he's scrolling through it, blah, blah, blah. Well, he finds, of course, a bunch of stuff, even stuff that he already has.
Right.
And he found this Lightyear, like from the movie Lightyear, a steering wheel from like the spaceship or whatever. And it's a big steering wheel. So this was when my mom was out. And all he wanted to do was just carry around anyone's phone and have it because the steering wheel was on it, right?
Mm-hmm. So
we had to screenshot the steering wheel so we weren't just on Amazon, so he's not like adding everything to our cart. So
order now.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God he doesn't know how to do that yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we either no, he had it on my mom's phone, and my mom's phone, it goes black after so often. Well, he got so mad that it got black, and she had to like take the phone to get it back up, but he did not want that. Oh my God. It was just not good.
Oh no.
And
oh no.
like, all right, you don't need her phone. Like this, we're done. You're not going to get any of these gifts if you're going to continue this. I thought it was going to be something so, fun and cute that he had to pick out his own little stuff. He got to scroll through. Well, no, then it just became a freaking hassle where he wanted everybody's damn phones. Just literally, he would just like walk around with the phone and just look at the picture of the steering wheel. Like it's not even like here, you're not even playing with it. It's literally just a picture of the steering wheel. But whatever, made him feel good, I guess. But don't
let him have his moment.
Yeah, don't let the phone go black when the steering wheel is on there.
I mean, lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Exactly.
So Liv had her first moment of repeating something she's not supposed to. And I told Chrissy about this, but I told you what she said, right? Yeah, I texted. Mm-hmm. I think I texted you. So I was standing in the kitchen and like, we try not to cuss around Liv, but Matt and I mean, we're both prior military. Like we have sailor's mouth. Like, that's right. Pirate's mouth, sailor's mouth. You know what I mean? Yeah. We cuss a lot. And so we were standing in the kitchen. It was just me and Liv, and she's like in front of me, but like below the counter, and I'm reaching over the counter. And something happened, and I was like, oh shit. And I shit you not 2 seconds later, she's like, oh shit. And I was like, no, don't say that. Like, no, don't say that. And she looks up at me and gives me the biggest grin. She's like, oh shit. And then I was like, Olivia, no, like we don't say that. And then she thinks it's the funniest thing. And I'm trying to hide my laughing because I think it's also the funniest thing. And she starts running around the house whispering it. She goes, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And she's cracking up. Oh no. I was like, this girl's going to go to daycare tomorrow and she's going to go tell our teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So our first little parent fail of cussing around her. So now we have to really be careful with what we say.
Yeah, that's so funny. Braxton is in like he knows what are bad words. So if you say that's a bad word, don't say that. Don't say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he like yells at us for saying something. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, that's right. Or he'll be like, so-and-so at daycare said a bad word. And I said, okay, well, did you repeat it? No, because it's a bad word. Well, great. Thank you. Don't repeat it.
Oh, my God. Liv does not. Man, maybe in 4 months she'll see something.
We'll check that.
Yeah, she's still trying to remember some of their names at daycare.
Well, she goes to the center, so there's probably a lot more people or kids.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of kids.
Yeah. Well, so let's do our cheers. So here's cheers to your new job. Congrats.
And your birthday. And a new style of an episode.
Yes.
So don't tune out, everyone. Like just give this one a moment and just hear us out. And maybe you'll start loving true crime too. Maybe.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so I mentioned before the documentary was the Jinx, Life and Deaths of Robert Durst. Kind of a short.
Before Chrissy continues, we originally planned on like doing, maybe like a movie type documentary, like one quick watch and stop type thing. She picks a series. And it was like 6-hour-long episodes. And I was like, oh, girl, like we are going to be binge watching TV the next week or so.
So it was, I think, 6 episodes, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe an hour each, which sometimes, that's like really difficult to find the time to do that. Yeah. I just so happen to have the time and
I quit my job. So let's just say I quit my job to watch these episodes. If my former employer is listening, it's not true.
Sorry about it. So a short overview of the documentary for those who haven't seen it. If you haven't, I suggest you go watch it because it is wild.
Mm-hmm. Creepy.
So Yes. So Robert Durst is this gentleman's name, and he's accused of the murder of his neighbor, good friend, and then the disappearance of his first wife.
Yep.
Yeah. It's, yes, very interesting. Like you said, it's creepy. It's wild. Like when I was watching it, I just was like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I think it's important to like kind of describe like who he was, right? Because that comes into play. Is like he came from this wealthy family, the Durst family, who ran like the top realty company in New York City. And so he's worth multi-million dollars. Don't quote me on that, but he is his family is very wealthy and very well off. And if you've ever watched true crime or have read a book or the news, like normally wealthy people have more abilities to hire the best attorneys and make sure they have a proper defense and or like kind of slimy defenses, if you will. And that really played out, I think, in this.
And I mean, definitely with, I guess, the family portion too, I kind of was a little sketched out by his family.
Yes.
And of course, this is all our own opinions. It's not, you have to go do your own research.
It's objective.
Go do your own research, whatever. But
well, tell the listeners about the family. Like, why was it weird to you?
So in one of the episodes, they were talking about, so Robert's first wife's name was Kathleen. And they just didn't seem to, I guess, care that she was missing, or didn't, want to help. And even his dad just was, and then the brother,
he just like ignored it.
Yes.
He removed himself from the incident or the disappearance of his daughter-in-law and never said anything, never did anything, supposedly.
And maybe it's because he wanted to keep their name out of, because they were so wealthy. But even the brother, who now is the CEO of the Durst
What's his name? Doug?
Yeah, Doug or Douglas or...
Douglas. Yeah, Douglas.
Every time, somebody would ask him about it, he would kind of either blow off the question or like ask a question within the question. It just, everybody was so silenced by it. And it's like, wouldn't you want to try and help? Or even so, let's say you did think your brother did this. Don't you want to help, figure
her?
Just nuts.
No, they quickly turned him into the black sheep of the family and just ignored the fact that he was part of the family.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, in the docuseries, the Douglas said something along the lines of, he got a restraining order from him, and which we can get into that because that was freaking creepy as frick too. So I want to just start out first by, are you at all into any true crime? Have you ever been, I guess, either?
So I do like true crime a lot. Grew up watching SVU. Obviously, that's all fiction, but based off true events. Ever since, obviously, Facebook videos and TikTok became a thing. Social media became a thing. I love watching the police videos. I love watching, the murder mysteries, if you will. And like, what's the TV show 48 Hours, where they have to solve it within 48 hours or it's basically a cold case.
Right.
And so, yes, I have been intrigued by it to an unhealthy level, like you are probably not.
True. It's bad.
So how long have you been like a fanatic on true crime?
I think this past year I really got into it a lot more. I mean, I've always watched, like you said, SVU, Criminal Minds, any type of really like
NCIS
documentary. Yeah. But this past year I've really gotten into it with podcasts and YouTube videos. Yeah. I listen to a lot of them when I'm working. So I would say a couple years, but this past year that's all I listened to. I used to jam out to music when I work, but no, now I'm just like, all right, I'm listening to a podcast.
Yeah. No, absolutely. The latest one that I really got like in the weeds with, I'm gonna butcher this name, please. I'm sure you watch it. Where the 4 college students were murdered.
Oh yeah, the Idaho murders.
Idaho, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That whole storyline was wild to me.
Yeah, that's so sorry. There was a bug on my screen. Freaking gnats. Yeah, no, that's still even crazy. And that's what's so wild about it is there's so much shit out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like this isn't just based on, let's say, like one serial killer. Like I feel like there are so many people who do this stuff and you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that in part of our episode too, is they can look as normal as whoever. They could be your neighbor.
They could be your brother.
Yeah, somebody you
not Brian, everyone.
No. Somebody you talk to every day, or you can sit and enjoy their company, and then you find this out. It's so scary that you really don't know anybody.
You don't
at all.
Yeah. And what we saw in the series is Robert Durst. He's like a pathological liar.
Yeah.
And he believed what he said, and he sold a story throughout this entire series and his timelines. And I mean, he believed it, or at least did a really good job making other people believe it.
And that's, so when I was watching it too, I'm over here like texting my 2 good friends in a group chat, like, because they've seen it already. Okay. And I'm like, and I'm one who's always for like spoilers. So I always have to like look up spoilers. I know it's terrible, but I didn't. My one friend is like, do not look up anything about this. So I was like, okay. So I'm texting like during it, and they're just laughing because they know what's,
happens.
And I was like, oh my God, okay, either A, this guy just is very
gets away
calm,
with it.
Yeah, but very calm and thinks about every word he's saying. Or he just really thinks that he is not a bad person.
He's a sociopath.
Yeah. And he always had something to say, always had an answer, which is, I feel like if I was like under attack with that stuff, I'd be like, all right,
I'd be a nervous wreck.
Right? Yeah. I would be like, I've already told you my story 5 times. I'm not telling you again because it's going to change just because I've told you so many damn times.
And I'm scatterbrained in a normal day.
Right. So what was the, I guess, first thing you noticed, or your first impression when you started watching it? You said pathological liar.
Yeah. And I was actually taken aback on how frail he looked, because the neighbor murder, which, are we going to get into like talking about what he did?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah. So the first murder that he was like arrested for or accused of was, at least in this series, was his 70-year-old neighbor. And
well, he moved, and I can't remember the state he moved to.
He was Galveston, Texas, and he was on the run from New York because he was being a suspect of the disappearance of his former wife, Kathleen. Right. Kathleen, right? Yeah, Kathy. Yes. And then he was on the run. He started to disguise himself. He was dressing like a woman. He shaved his head, shaved his eyebrows. He even said, like, I shaved my eyebrows because that's weird and it's weird looking, so no one's going to question that. And I was like, wait, what? I would question that more. Like, right. Why? I mean, I don't know. I just would have questions. It's fine. So then, so he was living at that apartment and dressing as a female.
Yes.
And
right. Who he had living at the apartment was a female's name.
Yes.
Which I should have taken better notes because I should have written down all these damn names, but
well, and my question is, so in the series, he was accused of 3 different events. I feel like he was using so many people's names.
Yeah.
I feel like those were potential other murders.
Oh my God. That
was my
very good.
That was my initial thought, because how did he know all of their information on that that they were no longer alive. He had their age, their date of birth, their names, like their, and sure, Google it. Like he was a millionaire. He probably had someone Google for him. But at the same time, it's like, or he kept a Rolodex of his prior murders.
Yeah.
But
so gross.
I mean, if you can potentially kill your former wife and then your best friend / secret lover that I feel like he potentially
100%.
Yes. I feel like it would be easy to kill a stranger also,
Oh yeah, I mean,
so like that's why
to do.
Right. Which is my opinion is that he has other murders. Yeah,
that's actually very, very good. I didn't think about that. So
I'm surprised you didn't. I went down a rabbit hole thinking that. I was judging him since the first episode.
Yeah. We can get into like theories and stuff because I have a theory of why I think all of these kind of happened. Okay. So the first thing I noticed with, I'm going to say Robert.
Yeah.
Is, he straight has black eyes. Like, I'm not saying like deep with, like, he has black eyes.
Like, no soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're actually
they're
black.
piercing.
I was so creeped out when they were interviewing him and you were looking at him. I was like, whoa, man. This is nuts.
Like, those eyes have seen things, aka chopped up a body.
Yeah.
Because that's what he did, and he admitted to that.
Yes. Okay, so kind of another story behind his neighbor, which his name is Morris Black. Okay. He was shot in the head. Or no, excuse me, he was shot at. He was claiming self-defense, Robert was, but he admitted to chopping up his friend's body and throwing it in the water. And then he realized that these garbage bags that had body parts in it did not sink.
Yeah.
Or were not sinking.
Yeah, so he cut up the body because in his quote-unquote self-defense, the gun accidentally went off while they were in a tussle, and it accidentally shot Morris Black. And that was via self-defense. So then he panicked because now he has a dead friend in his apartment. So his first thought is, how do I chop off his limbs and his head and hide the body parts? Because something doesn't look right here.
Yeah.
If you are in an incident of self-defense and someone accidentally gets killed because of said self-defense, you call the cops.
Yeah.
You explain the situation, maybe hire a lawyer and don't say anything to the cops besides like, hey, this incident happened. That's all I can say. Just because you're going to be a suspect initially because someone's dead. But
you would think, I mean, what?
Listen,
you know what the creepiest part of that too was? The bag with Morris's head in it has never been found because that would prove
who it
that was not self-defense. And that is creepy as shit. Like, bro.
Yeah.
Give some people a little bit of respect. So gross.
And like to this day, it still has not been found, right?
Right.
That's my understanding.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so Morris Black's case, when they were going through trial, there was obviously jurors that had to be convinced that it was either self-defense and he was not to be blamed of the murder, or it was murder. And so as this trial went on, the defense side had to convince the jurors, or remind them repeatedly, do not think about the dismemberment of the body. Don't think about what he did post self-defense killing or, death. Like, that has nothing to do with this case. The goal of this case is to identify if it's self-defense or if it's murder. And that blew my mind because, like, I think there's so much attached to what you do post-incident.
Well, why couldn't they charge him for both and maybe get him on one thing? Because, you dismembered someone's body.
Like, isn't that something...
It's like abuse to a corpse, like after.
No, but really, I don't know the terminology, but isn't there something of like mishandling a corpse or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
Disrespect of a corpse. Obviously, that's not the right terminology.
But I mean, so it's like, why wouldn't you try and get him on something else? I don't know. That just was so insane. Yeah, that they couldn't use any of that. They had to just be like, okay, I didn't hear any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, if I was on that, I would keep going back to that. I'm like, no, he freaking dismembered somebody's body. Of course he did.
Like, why would he
have been there for 2 months trying to figure out?
That's because I would have been the one juror to be like, no,
exactly.
This is not unanimous.
Yeah. So eventually, he got acquitted of that case.
Yes, not guilty. Yeah.
Yes. Because they obviously couldn't find any evidence showing that he did the murder because he stole this gentleman's head and has it somewhere.
Which I don't. Yeah, if they haven't found it yet, they're never going to.
Right. So his friend Susan Berman, they said in the documentary that if anyone knows anything about what happened to Kathleen, it would be her.
Mm-hmm. And she was a gangster's daughter.
Yes.
So and she was networked.
Yes. And she wrote books and was doing like shows or.
Yeah, she was publishing stuff. Yeah.
So my theory on that was because how she was murdered was really personal, right? Yeah. They didn't find any type of like entry,
foul play.
Yeah, or it looked like
breaking and entering.
Yeah. So my theory on that is because she was going to be talking to the police, or the police were going to ask her questions. I feel like maybe she was like, okay, I can't hold this in anymore, or I'm not trying to get in trouble because I want to do this, this, and this with my life. I feel like he went there knowing what he was going to do because she was going to talk to the police, and obviously he didn't want her to do that.
Yeah.
Because even so, you guys have got to go and watch this because this is so nuts. He wrote a letter, or I'm sorry, he is claimed to write a letter to the police with Susan's address on it. And I mean, it's exactly his handwriting. It's
totally his handwriting.
It's wild.
In our opinion.
Exactly. Allegedly.
Yeah.
So, yes.
The letter was basically a very personal letter to the police to say, hey, there is a cadaver at this apartment, aka Susan Berman's address. And that's all it said. And later, the production company who was doing this documentary, which kudos to them. That had to have been such a big win. They got access to Susan Berman's apartment later in the series. I think it was the 5th episode or 6th episode?
Yeah, it was close to the end.
It was late because this was like the big twist in the story. Yeah. Spoiler alert. And they found another note or letter in Susan's apartment that was identified from Robert Durst. And it was the exact same handwriting, misspelling of Beverly for Beverly Road or Beverly Drive.
Yeah, he put the L-E-Y at the end of Beverly, and it's not. That was one thing I was texting with my girlfriends. I was like, oh my God, the O's look exactly the same. Oh my God, he spelled Beverly
Yeah.
That was like right when I noticed, I was like, oh my God, Beverly is spelled wrong.
Yep.
That is so just, and that's like, he's been, let's say, quotations, so smart up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
what changed? Like, did you clearly just didn't know how to spell her street name?
Yeah. Or is it something that he just did because he thought he was like clever or swag behind
something?
I don't, or maybe it was just something in between like him and her, or but then the letter that went to the police, like I don't know.
It's nuts. I don't understand, and I don't think I ever will, obviously, because I'm not a freaking psycho.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But the question came up, I'm like, well, why was this letter written? If you wrote this, like, why would you write it or whatnot? And the assumption was that it was just because he loved her so much as like a friend and respected her and everything, even though he allegedly killed her. He had so much respect for her that he didn't want her body, breaking down, decomposing in the apartment with no one knowing that she's dead. Yeah. So that's why he reported the cadaver in the apartment.
And that's, I mean, still personal. Yeah. Like you had a relationship with this woman, whether or not, it was just friends but you're, at least
lovers.
Yeah. I'm not even going to sit and say you have a heart, because you don't, but I mean, there's something that clicked, like, okay, I want somebody to go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, to me, that just shows it's someone that she knew for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
We're kind of all over the place on this because we're going like so back and forth. But going back to Kathleen McCormick, we're not even going to put Durst as her last name because
he doesn't deserve that.
Exactly. There was claims, I guess, that they said that she was afraid of him and that he was really controlling
and abusive.
And yes. So what do you think happened to her? Do you think there was like an argument and he just, snapped? Or?
I think, yes. So because he said in the documentary that he assumed he was the one that controlled things. And he said that she just was over him controlling things or over him, running the household or whatever he said. I think she just got so fed up with the abuse and the manipulation and the arguments, whatever it might be. And I think she potentially could have like said, if you keep doing this, I'm going to go to the cops, or if you like threatened in some way, in a sense of like standing up for herself, but in trying to protect herself, or I'm going to leave you. And he didn't want to lose control. Like that's my thought is like, he was losing control of the situation and he couldn't lose control because he is controlling. So when he felt like he was losing control, he took it back by allegedly murdering her.
Yeah. And till this day, she has never been found either, which is just, I can't, I don't have words.
Yeah. I just don't understand. It's like, if you are already sentenced to a life sentence and you are old and you're going to die in prison, like you're sick, all these things, there's no way you're getting out. Just how can you be so sick in the head to not give other people peace of mind? I mean, you just don't think of other people in that way. And I'm assuming that's like why, but
well, and
what does it matter anymore?
He had nothing to do with them. So that's probably also why he's like, I'm not going to give up the jig because I don't have anything. But I mean, you're sentenced to life, that you're not, just give it up already. Give the family what they need and move on from it. It's
and maybe that comes back to like him being, the sociopath or pathological liar, in my opinion. Is like he he believes what he says. So he potentially believes that he had nothing to do with her disappearance, which is, again, sick in the head.
Exactly. So going back to him going, so his brother got a restraining order or some sort. And when the filmmakers during this really had a lot with Robert. They were interviewing him in person. They were walking on the streets of New York with him. They were, at offices with him. He wanted to be filmed going, looking at his brother's place, right? And then later on, security saw him creeping around the place. My thought of that was he probably was scoping out the area to see if he could get in somewhere. Or
and see
whatever.
what security's around, see what the traffic's like, see if there's any blind spots.
Yeah, but that image was so creepy when they showed
the one
that just
on the steps.
Yes.
So, and I don't think that was production. I think that was a security camera.
Actually, the security camera. I don't think production was even around at that point.
Yeah, so for people like who haven't seen it, so it's basically like the stoop of an apartment building or condo or whatnot in New York City, and it's like, and he's like really off balance, so he's frail and older, and he's like slowly like rickety climbing up these 6 stairs, and just like he looks at something, and I don't know what he's looking at. Maybe like what type of door lock is it, or what type of security was intercom or whatever, but he gets there and he stares at it, and then he like turns around and walks away, and it's so eerie,
so creepy.
Do you think if he didn't get arrested, do you think he would have gone after his brother?
100%. Yeah, I think so. I want to sit and say I don't think he would have gotten very far, just because of how big his brother is up there. And
he had a lot of security.
I'm sure he had a lot of security around. So I don't think he would have been able to, but yes, I think because he wanted to try and take everything back, because he was, like you said, essentially cut out of the family business. His brother got promoted to CEO and just kind of left him high and dry.
Yeah, he got like alienated pretty quick. But I think you said it like spot on in the beginning, is the family didn't want their name associated, or their company name associated with the drama of Robert Durst. And
because let's face it, that's going to take a lot out of it. But you could potentially lose a lot of stuff, and especially if people knew, let's say he was working for them, or okay, I want to ask you about Robert's wife that he had in the series and still
who was interviewed.
Yes.
They're not still married, are they?
Well, spoiler alert, he's dead, so no.
When did he die?
He died in prison. That? I don't think they put it in the he died in prison.
Oh crap.
What was your, I guess, impression of her? Because I went back and forth. Again, I was in a group chat with my friends, and at first I was like, all right, this lady is sassy as hell, and I'm digging it. But in my opinion, she was a little sketchy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because she wanted to make sure that she was getting money still from the family because they were wealthy, because she kept on going back and forth, saying, well, they're taking this from you, and you, pretty much essentially you're a part of the family.
Like coaching him.
Yeah. And when I was reading that they were still together when he was in prison and when he died, I kind of was like, okay, so is she backing him up on all this, like thinking, obviously you don't want to think your husband has done any of this stuff, right?
Right.
So maybe she is kind of like, okay, well, he didn't do any of this, so blah, blah, blah.
Like ignorance is bliss type thing.
Yeah, but then some of the phone calls that they had, I was like, all right, damn. I don't know. Like, she seems like a badass, and like, you couldn't fuck with her. Like, she would probably beat someone's ass. But I just was a little thrown off. Like, okay, you're just kind of weird, sketchy, and some of the stuff when they would ask her a question, she would just laugh.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought she was quite smart on legal things.
Yes.
My uneducated legal brain thinks she was smart on it. Maybe she wasn't. I don't know. But in my opinion, like, I thought she sounded like she knew what she was talking about to some extent. Right. And the way she was coaching him, I was just like, oh, damn, like, she knows what she's allowed to say and or what she's allowed to stay silent on. And but I think she was trying to protect her cut of the money. If she had a cut, like, I would assume that she would have a prenup to some extent, because especially with such a wealthy family,
or he would, yeah.
Yeah, prenup. That's what I meant. But within the marriage, you would think a wealthy family member that would be automatic, you know. But then again, he was alienated from the family, so maybe their legal parties like weren't coaching him, or I don't know. So I hated her laughing. I hated it. I thought her laughing was so dismissive to the victims, and I thought it was so disturbing. And I thought she might be just as twisted as him, but in a different way. And I thought it was disturbing. That's probably the best way I can say it. But I think she was smart. I think she was she chose her words very carefully, and she basically told the interviewers to F off on multiple occasions, which she, I guess, exercised her rights to like what she wanted to speak to and what she didn't want to. I did like the moment where they were interviewing or cross-examining or whatever. They asked her a question about an incident, and she clapped back and was like, or her attorney clapped back and was like, I think it was to her, or maybe it was Robert. Correct me. But they clapped back and they were like, I object to that. Like, oh, this is spousal confidentiality, and she doesn't have to answer that. And then they clapped back and was like, actually, this dated to pre-marriage, so that doesn't align. And I was like, oh, we're getting spicy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Just wild. I don't know what, I guess her end game or game is
money.
Was
money.
That's kind of where I was leaning to. Like,
she saw gold. She saw gold. She saw millions. And I mean, she had a motive, and the motive was, I want the payout, and we need to protect that at all costs. And at least in my opinion.
Do you think she knew anything about what he was accused of, or?
I don't think she knew details. I think she assumed but chose to never ask. Makes sense. She knew enough context to drive her own conclusion, so she chose to not ask him, so she couldn't know about it, quote unquote, or officially hear the words come out of his mouth. I don't think he would have told her regardless.
Right. No.
But
I don't know how the production company and the guy who was interviewing him was so calm, and even with some of the stuff he had to ask, I would have been like shitting in my chair.
Yeah. Well, especially the final interview. Okay, so spoiler alerts, everyone. Again, the letters, right? Like production found out like these letters match. Like there are so many similarities that there's more similarities than differences, and there's no way this is not the same handwriting. And so they went into their final interview with him like They knew. They just needed him to confirm it, and they got him to confirm.
The best part of
oh my God
series.
It was, and like if you were Robert and you started seeing them handing that out, like photo prints of the letters and hearing the questions they were asking, like what would be your thought? Like, okay, put on your sociopath hat on. What would be your thought? Would you feel like, oh my God, I feel trapped? Or would you just keep deny, like, and believe that?
Honestly, I don't even think they would know right off the bat, because I would probably be like,
I'd be sweating.
I don't know. Yeah. Sweating, shaking, like not
I'd probably cry.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know what to say. I wouldn't have anything to say. I would just probably be like, yeah. I mean, because he did say, well, yeah, they look alike, because they had them side by side from each other, and they said, well, tell us, this one is the one that was written to the police, and this one is yours. So do they look similar? And he was like, yeah, they look similar, but I didn't write that. And I'm pretty sure he said, like, but I can point out some that that doesn't look.
Yeah, he said, well, I can see some differences, but they had the Beverly Road Drive from both letters stacked on one another, and they did not say which one was which. And they said, can you tell me which one was the one that you wrote?
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And that was it. Like the fact that he couldn't even separate it because he wrote both of them, like that sealed the deal. But like you were saying, the production company interviewing him, I would have been sweating bullets, because it's like, this murderer knows we know.
Yes.
Like, what is he going to do?
Right here.
Even though he's like 80 years old and frail, but like still. It's just
and looking in those damn black eyes, I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta go, man. Like I can't.
We gotta go.
Well, even they were saying before they were interviewing, the guy was like, I'm really nervous about this. It's like they're obviously wanted to ask this and show proof, like, hey, dude, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would have been so freaking nervous too. I don't know how they, kept their cool or whatever. So your favorite part may be what the biggest plot twist was. I don't know. Do you have a favorite part of the series?
Just kind of like zooming out, so not a specific event, but the entire series, and it was like the twist was, or at least the twist that I thought was a twist. So the entire series, I was seeing him being interviewed in like just normal clothes and everything, and I was convinced that he got away with everything, and because I didn't look up any teasers or what's spoilers. I didn't like Google anything, because normally I am that person as well.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be like genuinely surprised, because there's always a freaking twist. And but I was like, he got away with everything. Like everything.
Yeah.
And then as it continued and I saw like, okay, no, this asshole ended up in prison and for a life sentence. And they reopened Kathy's case, which was somewhat turning cold, or did turn cold. And so they reopened it and reclassified it as a murder and started investigating that again. But like, yeah, I was convinced that he was going to get away with it. What was yours?
So I'm kind of in the same boat, because I was watching and I'm like, oh my God, he got acquitted. Like, what the fuck? And then, more stuff just came out, and he, was disguising himself. He ended up shaving his head because
and eyebrows.
And that's where he got caught in Wegmans grocery store,
stealing
something like
sub.
That. Yeah, because he, tried to steal a sub. Because, that's a good idea when you have, people
when you're on the run.
Yeah. Idiot.
Stupid.
So I'm going to go to the end of it, which we have not discussed yet, but I'm going to bring it up. They're sitting in this room with him in an office. And this is when they're showing him the handwriting of the letter that was sent to the police, the letter that he sent Susan. And
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
They were done for the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the second time this guy has done this. He has not turned off his mic and kept his mic on.
Because I think he's so old, he forgot the mic was still on. Like he forgot he was wearing it still.
Right.
Because his attorney had to correct him the first time it happened.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes to the bathroom, and this was like the plot twist of this. He goes to the bathroom. First of all, I thought that's how they were going to end it.
Yeah.
Like after the letter and everything, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? This is how they're going to end it? What the hell happened?
Like immediately disappointed.
Yes. I was like, we're not doing this one because I don't like it. So
you made me watch 6 episodes. We were doing this one.
So he goes to the bathroom and his mic is still on and he's talking to himself and he's saying, well, that's it. You're caught. You're caught. I killed them. I killed
them all.
I killed them all. So, ew. I got like chills and I was so creeped out. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is how they ended it, which I still was like, oh, damn. I wish they would have gotten more. But, yeah, so he ended up dying in prison. So, jackass just never got, I mean, I guess, you know, he wasn't in there long enough.
No, he wasn't.
Now he's dead, like whatever. Yeah. Because he was out for so many years for the shit that he did.
And the trial lasted a while too. And yeah. And then everything kept getting postponed because the pandemic was an issue. Yeah. And then something else. The hurricane had caused Hurricane Harvey, I think Wikipedia said, caused like issues or delays because like jurors were affected, the attorneys were affected.
Yeah, and I mean, and then the end, he just, you know, says, I did it. And that was that. I mean, it just was so when I was texting in my group chat, my one friend said her sister had just watched it and she watched it at night and she was by herself and she was super creeped out. So I'm thinking, this was before I even finished it. So I'm thinking like, what? Like, did they catch him doing something that was so creepy? But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't think like hearing that would be creepy, but holy, like
it was weird.
Blatantly admitted everything.
Yeah, and it was weird because it was like he was talking to himself, but like in third person, and it was or second person, third person, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, it was
like having a full-on conversation with himself, like that he was like talking to somebody else, but it was just really him. Yeah,
like the person in the mirror was another person, and he's like, "You did it, like you got caught," and it's strange.
Very, very.
So with this whole series, like obviously it's devastating and there's victims involved and we obviously want to respect as much as possible the victims that are involved and have passed and or have been affected by this. I do want to give a shout out to Kathy's friends. Like they were OGs because they like ride or die and they continue to like, I don't want to say be annoying because it is a good type of annoying. Yeah.
Right.
But they kept going to the cops like, no, you got to look into this person, look into this person, ask this person. Like they know something. And I just thought, I was like, man, if I ever went missing, like I hope I have some people showing up like that.
Please help me. Please help me.
No,
for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're not supposed to just block it out like I feel like his family did or some of his family did. And just get over it. No, like they want to freaking know what happened and everybody wants to know what happened.
Yep.
But I think in the end, him saying that he did it, case closed on that. It's really, really sad and upsetting that, you know, Kathleen was never found.
Yeah.
Morris Black was dismembered and there is a part of him that is also missing. And obviously, you know, Susan passing away too. It just, I don't understand what runs through people's minds. I don't understand. I don't think I ever will understand. But it's definitely scary. It is something I feel like everybody needs to have like an eye-opening experience with it. There's a lot of documentaries and podcasts you can listen to that have so much stuff on, you know, murders, on disappearances, on cold cases, whatever it may be. But I mean, it is eye-opening. It's scary to think about. It really is. And that's what's so funny. It's not funny, but funny that I this is all I listen to. This is all I watch. Like, why?
Psycho.
Yeah, like, I'm just kidding. Because it's so scary.
Yeah.
You know, and even the ones that have children involved. I can't listen to like a lot of those because I have a child and it just makes me like think like this is red. Horrific. Like who in their freaking right mind would just think that you're going to harm a child? Like,
an innocent child.
Go away and do something to yourself. Yeah. Before you do something to a kid. So it's definitely, I feel like, something that more people need to get involved because they need to be aware of. Yeah. Yes, they need to be aware of whatever it may be. And like I said earlier, it could fucking be anyone. Yeah. And that's what's so scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch out for those red flags, everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And if you haven't checked out the documentary, you should. We can try and find some stuff and link it. So, everyone, we hope you liked this episode. It was kind of crazy, all over the place. It was different. It was something I really enjoyed to do because I loved watching the documentary, as weird as that sounds. It was interesting. It was nuts.
It was fun. It was fun to like dive into a different type of topic and take a little bit of a break on like solely toddler things and parenting things.
Yes, exactly. So we hope you liked it. Thanks for joining. Reach out with any type of stories you have that you would like to share or anything you would like us to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys can all find us on Instagram at Loud Moms Lair Podcast, and you can listen to us on Spotify. Just search Loud Moms Lair channel, and then on YouTube. If you are watching this, you already know where to find us. But if not, just search Loud Moms Lair channel, and you can see all of our previous episodes as well.
Yes, you got it. So we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.